I've always felt different. I've always seen things, but when I tried to express them as a child, I was always told to ignore it.
There were people that I didn't know that came to me and said, I have this message that I keep getting that I have to deliver to you.
All of a sudden, out of the shadows, a homeless man just jumped right in front of me. And he said, I'm a soul just like you.
I love it.
I wanted to understand the universe and who and what we are and what are we doing here.
We're all part of this amazing soul wave tapping into each other.
This was a major life changer.
You are a light. You have helped me a ton. Thank you.
You've given me the courage to live more from my soul.
Millions of people are awakening.
So wake up with Michele, the place to hear the best-selling authors and experts in the fields of cutting-edge self-help, personal growth, metaphysics, and spirituality. The soul path of awakening.
Understand what living awake is.
Souls. Isabella, I see you in the chat. Hello. All right, everyone. It is really, really great to connect with you. Get on in, get comfy. I just got my matcha latte with a little honey and almond milk. I'm raring to go. Been doing readings. Maria, welcome. Get in the chat. Okay, we have Seth back with us. Seth Stewart, round 2. We had a great time last time. So I hope you guys all stick around for that. And he brings an interesting skill set into the house. So really good. I want to say hi to everyone. Good to see everyone. If you have questions or comments, let me know. Now, we're revving up here, people. So I'm going to get a little stuff out of the way. Let me know how the sound is, by the way, because I'm on a different mic. I'm going to switch probably midstream. But if the sound is not good enough, I'll switch now. Let me know in the chat. Christy, it's okay? The sound's good? Okay, Christy in the house. Hello. Are you feeling that energy shift? So I want to just share with everyone, get real, suggest, connect with me on Patreon, the Soul Path Journey and Awakening crew. We have a great community, a self-study and soul study, aligning to your soul, manifesting from your soul, creating a soul-fulfilling life. We dive into advanced metaphysics, spirituality, spiritualism, dream therapy, a lot of stuff, astrology. Anyway, it's a great place if you want to connect and if you want to do some deeper work. I invite you there. Also, my Substack, get your daily notes from the soul to inspire you, guide you, and just reconfirm the beautiful truth of who you are and what you're here to do. It's my Substack is Soul Journey. I write monthly for that, but the notes from the soul are daily notes that you get in your inbox. And it's been a dream of mine, and I finally just did it on Substack. I was looking for other avenues or outlets. Also connect with me, Awakenings with Michele on YouTube. We have replays and archives there, and we do some lives there as well. And let's see what else. Soul Insights and Tarot. I think that is it. Patreon, Instagram. Okay, I think I said enough on that. People. And also, you can always email me questions, awakeningspodcast@gmail.com, or you can DM me, especially if you're on Patreon, or put in the comments. I will get those. So, second half of the program, Seth will be on. So, look, that's me that joined the room. Who is that? Hello, it's me that joined the room. Hello in there. Yeah, so you can call in if you have any questions or comments or you want a reading. One of the things, I've been doing a lot of readings early morning. I just finished a reading for February, and then the next 7 days I've been doing a lot of readings and information and offerings for my Patreon community and soul study group. Soul Awakening, and then also for YouTube. And the theme I'm really getting a lot is a lot of activation energy, and some of you are probably already feeling it. And so we're going to talk about it more and more, because and maybe I'll even do a whole show on it, a whole podcast segment or longer. But it's interesting because Seth is going to talk a little bit about leadership. I don't know what else we're going to talk about, but that's a big thing for him, is the whole idea of community and leadership and follow your vision, live your truth. And that's so this time right now. That's so that Pluto in Aquarius and Saturn and Neptune in Aries Saturn is a bit of the realist. Like, what is your truth? What's really working? What do you really want to do? And so, yes, we are anchoring in this new vision individually and as a collective, but it's also causing disruption with that Uranus and Taurus, the Saturn, the changing from the Piscean energy, the kind of the old guard, the old way of doing things. Pluto is very deep but slow acting. Uranus creates, spurts. So we're really being called, and you can see people that are holding on. I know I've gotten questions, by the way, about the protests or what to do. Some people thought, oh, should I move? Because, and I'm answering those on Patreon. I will DM you back if you're listening now. And I did do a video on this. This is why the guides, your oversouls, has said, when I had all these predictions, and they've been extremely accurate, they've been completely accurate. I just have to say, and those of you that have been following me for a while and connecting with me, and on this soul path journey, you know that, but I'm starting to put those out now, the predictions and the visions and what's going to be what's happened already that I predicted and what's going to be happening. However, some of you know the story. Every time I ask the guides, should I put this out there more? And I predict all the pandemic, everything that happened. No, teach people how to connect to their own intuition and trust their own inner knowing. Teach people to connect to their own intuition and trust their inner knowing. I'm trying to remember it exactly. Teach people how to connect to their own intuition and trust their own inner knowing. Why? Because with what's coming up, folks, people, soul lights, loves, you're going to have to trust your intuition to know where to be and what to do, and not get caught up in the fear, and not get caught up in stories or situations in life that you're not a part of. And it could be detrimental. It could be pull you off, because the unrest that we're seeing, that's going to continue. These people do not have a sense of purpose. They're angry. They feel held down. They're victim consciousness, whatever. It's part of transition. It's part of the change. Now, if you feel called to be part of that, the disruption, then you have to know that you'll be in that opportunity. But if you're not, then you don't need to go there. The universe will place you where you need to be. And really, that's the existential, or that you in the subtle energy, right? You in the quantum field will guide you. And have you ever been driving? I know this has happened to me a few times. Driving. One time I had gotten out of yoga, and I'm driving down the road, and I'm going to go left, but it's a big street. But I was so aligned, I was so tuned in, that I was just at a certain, I didn't race to go through the yellow light. And this guy behind me was beeping, go, go, and I wasn't angry. I was just in my zone. And I don't know, this guy must have been going 90, fast, 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 because he blew through the yellow light and into past the green light, right, of the red light. He went from yellow to red. If I had listened to that guy behind me beeping, and of course I did turn around and smile like, oh, dude, thank you very much. If I'd listened to your peer pressure, I would have been, what is it, T-boned or whatever. I would have, who knows if I would have even survived, because that guy was going so fast. And I just moved in there, and I talked to a friend of mine that had been living here for many, many years, and I told her the story, and I'm like, wow, I thought I was just so zony in my flow. And she goes, oh, did it bug you that guy was beat? And I said, no, it's like, whatever. I just knew, don't go. And she said, oh, Michele, it's good that you don't go. There's so many accidents there, with people turning to the left and getting whatever, sideswiped, whatever it's called. And I was like, really? And she goes, oh, yeah. They've even changed the light. She goes, the timing of the lights, because there's so many accidents. She goes, it's really good. You just, you were in that state. And I thought, yeah, well, it's partly my intuition. And I've had it, and I'm sure when I'm sharing this with you all, you all had situations like that. I'm not saying that nothing ever bad will happen or there's not mistakes or accidents, because that's part of the earth plane. But you can navigate and minimize those kinds of things by trusting your intuition and being in your own flow, your true flow, not having the peer pressure. I had a client the other day that uh, we were talking about their something with their child, and I was saying, and they were saying, well, we want to change schools so they don't get this bad influence. And I said, well, the thing is, it's not about the bad influence. It's about when you teach that person, that child, or even yourself as an adult, not to cave in, to be stronger. I remember in school, I didn't bully people. I was never the bully. I always intervened. Actually was quite, I don't know why, popular, whatever. I never had problems weaving in and out. So maybe that's kind of why I don't have really that victim-y conscious. Not to say I don't drive through the victim station every now and then, and I call it my kvetch. I'll complete, oh my God, I can't believe this and that's happening, or I'm still here, or this or that. But I don't park there. I don't live there. And I just remember so many times, because I always looked at it as lower level. Maybe that's the stars, because I'm a star seed, light, where I've known that since forever, since 4 years old. But I remember sometimes intervening, and people were just like, what's wrong with you? Why do you like that? What are you doing? And I'm like, oh, just be quiet. Just stop acting like this, And I would just be like, ugh. But that's either something you have or you get taught. So we can't change the world and go, okay, I'm not going to go over there because I might be swayed into this bad influence. You have to start developing your own inner core, your connection to your own intuition, inner knowing, your soul, so you know where to be and what to get your energy or into. I mean, sometimes there's things I want to comment on, and then I have to think, Michele, do you want to start this trajectory? Is this your world, or are you just passing through? I want to comment, I want to put my 2 cents in on social media or do a video about something, and then I kind of pull myself back and go, but are you going to stay with this? It's even like, for me, with like what's happening in the world, the social commentary, and the unrest. It's like, yeah, I'll address it, I'll help. But the thing is, I can't keep talking about it because it doesn't interest me. I just really see it as people that are very wounded and so not connected to their higher self and their soul, their soul, through their higher self. They're just so lost and wounded. And I just see it as a therapist. I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of work they got to do. I'm just like, whoa. So I'd rather put my energy into building and bridging and creating and empowering and inspiring and being inspired and learning and sharing and teaching and growing. And those that are already awakening and going, we're building, I'm creating. I'm doing this for myself, my friends, my family, my kid. I'm doing this. I see the world, not just breaking down, but building up. So it's not just everything's falling apart. There is a lot that's coming together. May not be totally to certain people's liking, or they don't yet see the possibility of where things can go. And there's a lot of control mechanisms that are happening right now, which is also, by the way, that Saturn in Aries. But it's like, I love how, I think it was, remember Kalissa? Was it Delisa? Delisa. And I was saying how you got to have that pioneering spirit. We had so much resonance. It was so fun. I know some of you were in there. I think Christy, you were in there. Oh, I love that you believe in your higher power and had a spiritual. Yeah, well, we're constantly awakening. We're constantly, yeah, I hear you with that. Wonderful, William. Yeah, she was saying, do you want to be I was talking about being a pioneer, and she's like, well, do you want to be a pioneer? Yeah, I look at it as a pioneer or a prisoner. And so, prisoner of a reality, we do have a lot of, we do have a lot of say so individually. And I think that's, again, that accountability that's going to be, that's part of the process of that Pluto and Aquarius, but also Saturn in Aries. Saturn is learning, it's growing, it's an evolutionary process. It's maturing, it's getting wise. And Aries is the self, right? To some degree, it's the personality, and it's where because it's ruled by Mars, it's where and how you expend your energy. And so Saturn is saying, hey, wake up, wise up, mature group, mature individuals, mature as a collective, stop having these tantrums. And unfortunately, some of the tantrums are, William wants to share something. The tantrums could be kind of severe. Hello, welcome. You're on air.
Hello, how are
You're
you doing
live.
today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm having a very blessed day.
Good. And this is William, right?
Yes, ma'am. This is William.
Hi, William. What did you have a question or was something you want to share?
Just share, a little bit of my testimony. 6 years ago, they found 3 quarts of bath salt, and I was doing meth. I blew out my stomach. I weighed
Mm,
120 pounds at my job. I was still doing my job, puking up blood.
mm.
I'm not supposed to
Really?
be alive, but
Wow.
they told me when I went under, I wasn't gonna make it out. I wasn't gonna
Mm.
make it out.
Oh, wait, you had surgery then?
Yes, I had surgery. I went under.
Wow.
And what I seen, like I seen something that the human mind would not be able to comprehend. And
Mm-hmm.
when I came to, that was 6 years ago. Now 6 years later, my higher power, which is God,
Mm-hmm.
every day I do my meditation before work, I do my
Mm.
Bible practices and stuff. And now I'm talking to 5 different people at my job about what God has done for me, transformed me into something I never thought. Okay, I was born with schizophrenia, had went through a lot of
Mm.
trauma, 13 different personalities. And I tell people I'm not on medication. Just like right now, the Holy Spirit's all over me. They ask me, they're like, how are you doing this? And I said, it's God. He's using
Mm.
me in a way to help other people out. Just like
Beautiful.
just like I usually go to Burger King every week to give the
Mm-hmm.
encouraging word about positivity because you got good energy, bad energy in the people, right? And we got animals that we've been very blessed with.
Mm-hmm.
My spiritual animal, which being a crow,
Oh, it's crow medicine. Oh, that's powerful.
because after I gave the encouraging word, like I got a crow on the back of my neck. Um, I looked out the door of Burger King and there was a crow right there watching. So every
Mm-hmm.
time I would always go to work, I always be noticing crows watching over me everywhere I went. And people at work they said, "Well, that's like witchcraft." I said, "No, it's not." I said, "You can use any religion for good or bad, but what are you trying to do? You're trying to help people, or you're trying to hurt people?"
Mm.
I said, "My higher power, which God allowed me to go through all religions, right, from devil worshiping, voodoo, vampirism. I'm just giving you my testimony. So, but when you have that spiritual awakening, you get a higher sense. You
Yes.
don't you don't follow the world
Yeah.
because
Good point.
something's telling you the world is still under the matrix,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you look at the way they're following politics and you realize with your higher sense, you're
Yeah.
you,
Now, I
you
want to
really
clarify something because people, and by the way, I knew the guy that did the Matrix, his wife, then wife, and I given her reading. We were friends back in the day. So anyway, I just want to clear something up because it stumbles people. A matrix is just a design. So we will create another matrix or design. Everything is by a fractal, everything is by design here. So I want people not to be kind of frightened or pull back from that word. We have a soul design or soul matrix. Matrix just means design. And so
Right.
we have to, right? And I'm not just saying it to you. I hear that a lot. And I just kind of want to clear that up, that people are like, we're not fighting the matrix. We're creating a new design. And William, I love what you're saying here, because I feel like what you're saying is so key. Once we learn to look through the third eye chakra, the spirit, where things are going, once we look more at the positive and not what is always falling apart, because you can see a lot of people coming together, you could see people doing great apps or websites or new systems and schools and focusing, that's
Yes.
just not getting the attention. And I always look, I've been doing this since 2007, and my guides guided me to talk about awakenings, and they said there's many awakenings. You hardly heard the word awakening or awakenings. Now, the last few years, there's soul awakening, we're having a financial awakening, a governmental awakening, a spiritual awakening, a soul awakening. There's even a car called the Kia Soul. It's the financial, people are awakening in government. People are, you just hear it everywhere. And that is spirit. That's God peeking, getting through
And
the old design and busting stuff up.
it's just like right now I'm talking to you. It's just, I call the Holy Spirit all over me. I can go somewhere and give somebody a word and they tell me I needed to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked me at a restaurant, was I like an angel? Because I went in there and I told her something positive, what she needed to hear. She went home that night. This ain't no lie, because everything I'm saying is the honest truth. She went home that night and she did a lot of praying, a lot of soul searching. And she asked me that next day, was I an angel? I said, no, I'm just a messenger.
Yeah.
God gave me a higher, He gave me a purpose to encourage people and to be bold. Like, okay, I'll tell you how powerful He is. 3 or 4 months ago, I was at a church. I helped cast out an evil entity out of somebody I know, and I called a demon. And I'm very bold to be saying this on here because when you when you're blessed to have all these gifts that you've been blessed with, other people need to know how real that is. Because
Yeah.
people have, one of my friends at work asked me, how am I always able to stay calm? I said, I tell you how. I said, before I leave my house, I do my meditation, Bible studying. I'm in deep spiritual connection because when I walk out the door, that's my spiritual warfare.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been through enough trials and tribulations. Like, I give him bits of my testimony of where I was at.
Beautiful.
And he,
William, we got another call. Thank you so much for calling in, though. Thank you for sharing your experience and your gifts. Really do appreciate you taking the time to call in.
yes, ma'am.
Take care. Bye.
Ma'am.
Maria, I see
Hi,
you on the phone.
Michelle. How are
Huh?
you?
Doing great. How are you?
Good,
Good to
very
connect.
good. So, this week, I know there's like a big change. I don't remember
Mhm.
if it was actually, no, not I don't remember. I think you spoke about it at the beginning. Neptune. Is it Neptune or is it Saturn leaving
Well,
Pisces? Something this week or
Neptune went into uh, Saturn, 26. 26th or 29th. Yep. So we have that energy, but we have the Neptune Saturn. Neptune went into Aries. Neptune Saturn conjunction February 20th, and I'm definitely seeing that shift. We have a lot of huge planetary shifts, and especially the outer planets are shifting a lot. Um, Saturn's still considered personal, but Neptune, Pluto has gone direct, so we have Pluto in Aquarius. We have a lot of planets in Aquarius right now. Mercury, Venus, Mars. Mercury will be going retrograde at the end of the month into February in Pisces. And then April, Uranus goes back into Gemini,
my
which is going to
poor
be
Pisces.
great.
Ah, I'm like, that's why I'm like, oh, let me ask her. Because I'm like, whoever's Pisces, I'm Virgo Pisces. I double whack. I felt it the last few years. That's why I'm like, oh my God, Saturn is
But we're,
almost over or it's over.
yeah,
And now we have, that's what I was asking. I'm like, what's coming our way now?
yeah. Well, and we have a nodal axis change too this the next few months, this year, where the North Node will go into Aquarius.
Okay.
So part of what's happening individually and in the collective is that, again, a new, like William was talking about a matrix or design. Somebody else, I think Sue said that. And unfortunately, I don't know, me, I was just as a teacher and a therapist, and then the metaphysics and studying advanced metaphysics and spiritualism. I'm also was an English major, so I look up derivations, and it really kind of, this whole idea that there's this bad matrix, that's just, we have to have patterns. We create and live and express through patterns of thought. We have to read the patterns. So the design, the matrix, I want people, don't be afraid of that word, because we're creating by a new design based on the soul, less on separation and wounding, right? That makes sense. So it's time to kind of co-create the new pattern, right?
Interesting. And
Individually.
indeed.
Yeah, the pattern of your life. What's the pattern? So it's a whole new, for some it's an 8 to 10 year cycle, 20-year cycle, and overall with that Saturn energy is a 36-year cycle. So you might even want to look at what were you doing between, like, some of you that were old enough or maybe born into this, 88, 87, 89 to 92, 2008. So we have a lot of repeat energy. Where did you learn the lesson or just let it go? You're not creating or focusing on this anymore. Something new is coming in. And what I can share is the design that's coming in is based more on the soul map, the soul blueprint, the soul design, the soul matrix, meaning that we're going to be experiencing, expressing, creating, manifesting, having relationships that are more based on the soul, which means more the individual person, or individual needs and wants. So something in your life will be changing too, to make it more, more part of the Dharma, or why you really were here, right?
That's interesting. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. So what's your question?
I don't, no, nothing. It was just to
Nothing?
ask you about that. I'm
Oh,
good. I'm good.
one of the things too
Thanks,
that you're
Michelle.
sparking, Marie. You're welcome, and I'll continue. Okay. One of the things that I'm getting, actually from Maria, your energy pattern here, is a lot of you are going to be doing something, your soul, you know, purpose differently, in a way that's more, fulfilling or interesting or fun, or but what's going to start happening is that you look and go, oh my God, why didn't I do this sooner? Or, and what I want to caution is, like, it's not that what you were doing was, some people could be off path or off track. Yes, some people, yes. But for most everyone, what you were doing in your past, in different parts of your life, you're bringing it all together and wrapping it up. So I just worked with someone that is more corporate and is in technology and having these major awakenings, and they're like, oh my God, I should give that. That's not me. And I said, no, you're going to take all of that, what you learned, your gifts, the old job or the old career, whatever it is you're doing, and now you're wrapping it up, a nice burrito. We're putting it in a new packaging that really more reflects our dharma, what we came here to do. So it's not necessarily you were off track or off path, but there's something that is being updated in what you're doing, or up leveled. Um, and some of you, again, you're going to say, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't this happen sooner? Or why did I have to do all these other things? Because you need to bring those forward into what you're doing. So you have more of the totality of your gifts. And that's definitely Saturn in Aries, but it's also taps into that Neptune in Aries energy, where the messaging is, when you have that, Saturn Aries conjunction, it's like, Saturn is the learning lesson. So one of the things to ask yourself, what did I learn? What am I learning here? What did I learn and how can I share it? How can I share what I know? And so if you share what you know, that's going to be the most genuine and real for you. It's going to be easier also. So a lot of the heavy lifting is off when we follow our inspiration. I had a client ask me the other day going, well, how will I have that? How am I going to follow through? How am I going to do this? And I'm like, it's a common sense saying, business people say it, everybody says it. If I knew what it took to do this, I don't know if I would have done it. And that's why we say metaphysically and spiritually, God gives you the honey first before the lemon. You get the honey, we get the inspiration. But when you really love what you're doing and you're inspired, or you feel it's helping people, or it's something you really want to do, you will get through it. You'll not just flow through it. You'll, whatever your flow is or grind, you'll get through it. And so that's a little message there, is like, look to connect to more of those parts of your life or areas of your life where it's a bit easier right now. It's not really about this over pushing. It's about what is already there. Saturn says, work with what you have, existing circumstances, the gifts you have right now. That's where you need to activate from, and move from that self-realization or realization of what you want to do into actualization. It's really time to take action. And we have somebody amazing, welcome back, Seth, to talk about this, because I just had so much fun the last time that he was on the pod. And he's a performer. I put in here too, though, creator, spiritual guide. He's been in Hamilton and other Broadway productions. He's got a book out, Follow Your Vision, Live Your Truth. It's so appropriate, apropos to this time period. He also has the True Kings Academy. You can find him on Insta, TikTok, LinkedIn as well, and also at True Academy, right? Or I am SethStewart.com. Hey, Seth, welcome.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
I can. Can you hear me? Is that?
Yeah, I can hear you perfect.
Okay,
This is
cool.
great.
Wow. So, when I was looking at your bio again, I'm thinking performer, and I'm like, no, this dude's a creator. He's also a creator.
Yes.
I gotta sneak that in. I know we have things to talk about, and you have some stuff, but I also wanted to talk. I feel it's just so pivotal that you and I are connecting at this time with what's going on astrologically. Well, because you have the stuff naturally that people either have to realize they have, or develop it, or learn it in some way. That taking what you were doing before and bridging and building and creating and finding that path with your soul gifts or your mission or whatever you've done. And so I had one question right off the top, off the bat, because I was looking, God, look what he's done. And I'm thinking, what did you learn from what you did before, whether writing, creating, performing, dancing, everything on Broadway, and that world that you've brought into what you're doing now? Let's say this world. What did you learn, and how has it helped you?
First of all, I love your questions, so thank you. And second of all, thank you for having me again. I just want to start off with just that gratitude. Performing, I always loved to perform, and my biggest, to give you a short answer, as I got older, I realized being on stage and performing for other people, right, is such an energy exchange. And I went on tour with, at an early age with a lot of major recording artists. And again, it's like you realize something's happening with the energy exchange, but you can't really define it because you don't have maybe the growth or wisdom yet to put words to it. But I realized how energy can be fed off of from audiences for any sort of reason, to make you feel better or to feed off, your ego can feed off of it, or it could be medicine, like, your song, your performance, your dance can be medicine to the audience. It really just kind of depends on what vibration the music or the performance is in. And again, a lot of this I didn't realize until I was older, but the biggest takeaway is that energy exchange and how important that is when you're with one person or which you're with, a crowd of 10,000 or 100,000.
Wow. Okay. I knew you'd have that answer. I think you did this last time. You had some pieces that were so good that fit together. Um, so part of what I'm hearing you say, and I love you're talking about this energy exchange. When I'm hearing you say this, I'm thinking, well, that's what we're always doing, but we don't necessarily own it, hone it, master it, or use it, for good. It is about this energy exchange. Everything is the energy right now, or your service, or what you're doing, or the book you put out there. You're putting out this energy. Um, so when you were seeing that, were you seeing, okay, I'm doing this, I'm having this effect on people, and I can do it elsewhere, or were you seeing it in also a broader term of life as well?
It wasn't until later in my career that I noticed how much we as performers, we as artists, really affect an audience. And it gave me a much broader view because I was always an observer. I'm
Hmm.
forever an observer and a student of life. And it really just showed me how easily energy can be manipulated through performance.
Yeah.
Um, and again, how medicinal it can be. Um, and
Oh, so
so,
let's, okay,
yeah,
I'm going
go
to write
ahead.
that down. Keep going ahead. Well, medicinal. You said that twice. Okay, let's talk about the energy exchange and the medicinal aspect.
Yeah, so we've done ceremony. We've done ceremony since the beginning of humankind.
Okay.
We prayed for the rains. We danced for the rains. We prayed and sung for the harvest. We prayed and sung for birth, even for death, across many cultures, across humanity for thousands and thousands of years. That's the medicine. That's the medicine of song, of dance. It's comes from ceremony,
Mm.
whether celebration or mourning. And
Hmm.
so, to me, my personal viewpoint is it's always been medicinal, meaning it gives people good energy. It takes them to a higher place beyond themselves, or takes them within their heart, makes them feel better,
Hmm.
makes them laugh. So and just having this observation and going into my spiritual journey, I realized, oh, okay, we've heard the conspiracies, that there's weird stuff going on live performances or predictive programming in television and film. And I can just tell you
Hmm.
from, experience that, yeah, if I look at it from a spiritual point of view, that's exactly what's happening in
Yeah.
certain cases. But the root of performance, of song, of dance, is medicinal. It's to give people stories and to pass down traditions, to pass down these stories, and to uplift them, uplift the
Hmm.
community, uplift the audience. So and it also made me very aware of what I emit.
Hmm. Now you say the manipulate, and I agree, manipulation of energy, which is energy as power. We think of power source, power surge. It is our energy is very powerful, and our energy is our attention. Are you saying, like, with certain productions or films, like manipulating outcome, or like entrainment training, or is that kind of what you're
Yeah, I mean,
touching on?
we can even just, if we look at certain music, depending on what it is, it has this, a certain vibration. I mean, if anybody's
Oh,
studied sound
yeah.
alchemy, they know that certain resonant tones create whatever. But even in a lot of films, like action films and horror films, it's like it's producing a lot of fear because of the adrenaline rush
Yes.
and things like that. But again, these types of films, television and film hasn't really been around that long. It's only been around about
Hmm.
100 years.
Hmm.
So people started to uh, go to these films and watch these TV shows because of the adrenaline rush. And
Hmm.
however, it's unbeknownst to them, or beknownst to them, it's producing this fear. It's producing this rage, or wanting to fight. And not that all of those types of movies are bad. It's just about awareness. It's just about a personal
Yeah.
awareness. And once they realize it's producing these things, it can be, it's like the wound can be touched upon even more to create more of that, and especially within media. So I don't really consume too much media for
Yeah.
that reason.
Yeah. I hear you. I am a lot pickier. I do every now and then to like get confirmations of my predictions and stuff, but I've had to pull way back. And even certain things I watch, I was watching something the other night and I could feel the icky energy coming off. I know it was the characters because I even know a couple of the people that were in the movie.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, I was a therapist. I don't want to go. I had to change it. I was like, oh, I ended up fast forwarding. Then they had these fight scene, and I was like, oh God, that's so low
So
level.
much, yeah.
It was like I thought I was, but I'm wondering now, Seth. Okay, so I think this is so important for people to really know because I feel a lot of people consume a lot, and they're not, which is a big part of what metaphysics 101, and we really all, I mean, once people understand this, like what you're talking about, it's like so profound and important, like that, energetic hygiene,
Hmm.
um is that how we're affecting change, but what we're ingesting, not just food, is changing our uh viewpoint. It's changing our, it's either hooking us where we have a tiny bit of doubt and growing that doubt, or it is just biochemically, energetically throwing us off or bringing nausea. We may not even know why. It may not even be emotional, maybe just the energetics of it through the subtle energy. And now we're being feeling a certain kind of way, and then we're more
I
manipulatable. Do you
I
think so?
agree 1000%. It's having been a performer, having studied silence,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because to me, to access your inner worlds and then to access then the outer worlds, the inner outer worlds, you have to become a student of silence, inner silence and outer silence. So having been a student of this for some time, um, I can see how, just like, again, just like a tuning fork, if you tune something a certain way, it's going to vibrate that out in the world. So
Mm-hmm.
if we're tuning ourselves to overconsumption of certain types of media, we are then going to become a tuning fork for that vibration or that
Yeah.
frequency. And
Yeah.
we're all consumers. I mean, even some of us that are not as heavily as much as consumers, we all are. I have been fighting with this idea of wanting to stay um, in tune with what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time wanting to not be involved at all, which I don't know how much of it is cognitive dissonance and how much as it is just staying in my realm of sanctuary.
Yeah.
So I really think that now and moving forward, we definitely need to be very careful, not from a fearful place, but overconsumption, because we will tune to that, and that
Yeah.
will take
Yeah.
us to a certain consciousness and then a certain dimensional conscious, level of living within our
Yeah.
consciousness.
Our experience. Yeah. There's certain things like I realize, like a little, and I stay aware, but I have more of what is more harmonizing and aligning and the higher truth. So that's more what I experience and live, even if I dip into the other or through clients, oh, this is happening over there, that happened, what should I, and I'm like, oh, that's going on now, oh, okay. But I feel like what's held to me is that my thing. Am I going to do something about that? Am I going to, and if when I say no, then I go, Michelle, keep your nose out of that. Whether
Mm.
that's what I do. I go,
Hmm.
okay, whether it's consuming it or getting fired up and feeling I need to do something, because I think we can all like want to do something in so many areas and ways, but if it's really not our thing, why am I going over there? Why am I sticking my nose in where that's not even my skill set to like get involved in this kind of stuff, you know?
I agree. It's one of the biggest things I've learned because I, was studying from different mentors and things, is I just wanted to go out and like affect the world. And
Mm,
what I realize is that, you know, if we, wherever we are in the world, if we affect change within ourselves and wherever we are at, that we have to kind of start local. And you know, I have the vision right now of the monks that are walking across the United States and across the world for peace right now. Have you seen that?
No, but I've seen it before. They did it before. So
Yeah, they've done it before. So yeah,
it's
so
just,
they're doing it
yeah,
again.
they're doing it again. Okay.
But they're walking for peace, and there's a vibration that everybody feels as they walk. And what they're doing is, to me, is they're cutting the tension energetically. They're like a knife going through butter.
Yeah.
And kind of to tie all of this in, if we are aware of what we consume and aware of our energetic space, no matter what's going around us, which is like the bodhisattva energy, right? If we can be a pillar of light, an anchor of groundedness amongst the chaos, amongst the fire, then that can be our job alone.
Yeah.
But it's not always about going out. It's about right where you are. And I have to remind myself this every single day. So this is still a practice for me. I am not a master of this. But if we are aware of our vibration, what we consume energetically through media, you know, obviously through food, we will get through these times, because these times that we're in, you know, we are at the end of one era, and in many ways it's collapsing, but there is rebirth happening from within. And so I kind of feel like the time that we're in, one of the most important things we can do is hold our light.
Yeah, that's it. Well, and I'm wondering from you, with what you realize with the energy exchange, is that the more we go in that direct, if that's our true nature, our true, like, I get it with or meditation. Sometimes I'll do meditation groups, and everything that we're doing individually and as smaller collectives resonates with the you know, the larger. So I think if we can all, people listen, really get that, like, you are making a difference, you are making a difference. And maybe if I'm hearing you right, it's bringing in more of this other energy, what might seem the opposite, but it becomes the complement. It's the harmonizing.
Yes.
Rather than getting in the, you know, I gotta say, so, like, I remember years ago, I think and this has happened multiple times, so it just kind of underscores what you're saying as performer. I was at a dancing, you know, to rave, but, you know, not doing drugs or whatever.
Yep,
I
but living
wasn't
your life,
dancing.
it's okay.
Yeah,
Yep,
you know,
no
I wasn't,
judgment.
but I
But
gotta qualify, because I've had so many people say, like, I've been dancing hours. They're like, "What are you on?" And I'm like, "Nothing."
yeah, the
The music.
music. I'm on the
But
music.
yeah, but one time I remember it kind of dipped, and I was always up front near the speaker, and I had gone kind of in the middle. And then I was talking to some people, and we just started talking and then dancing more. Like, we had this exchange. And then there was a break, and the DJ was leaving. And he's like, "Oh, thank God you did that." And I go, "What?" He goes, "You got it going." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "No, he goes, I felt you first. I saw you." And he goes, "But I felt it." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Oh, no, no, we feel it." He goes, "When we're up here, we feel what the audience is doing, or the dancers." And
Yes.
I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Oh, no, no, even we're far away, we feel it." He goes, "When it dips, we can feel the energy, you know, go down." So I say to you, or ask you, and for people listening, because I know I get the question all the time, what should I do? Which are not really doing anything, and I'm scared of the fight and what's going on. Are you saying, by what you know, by this energy exchange and energy as medicine, to, without, like, no, like doing a spiritual bypass or whatever, but it, is it more helpful, and I ask this sincerely, to focus more on what we want to do or create? Is that, or not? I don't
Then
know.
what's going on in the world?
Yeah.
I my personal opinion is yes.
Okay.
And the reason for that being is, when there's so much shift happening, right? There's so much energetic shift happening, so much geopolitical shift happening. All of these shifts happening. We can't get caught up in the waves. So I know before, from I was listening into the end of your conversation before I joined in, which I love, is the stay in your lane idea. To me, is great.
Mm-hmm.
if you have a fight for something and you feel in your heart that that's what you're called to, okay, there's fighters, there's always warriors, but
Mm-hmm.
then there are the medicine people, the healers, and then there are people that are just going about life, seemingly living life, but again, they're holding a certain frequency within them that you would never know, but it's shifting things.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like to suggest what anybody does, but what I know for myself is that I'm going to help who I can when I
Mm-hmm.
can. Because the truth of the matter is like we not everybody can just go be a shaman and
Yeah.
live and financially take care of themselves. It's just I think that glass ceiling has broken.
Yeah.
And but if each of us can do what we can, 100 people, 1,000 people can affect 10 other people, we're spreading the fire, we're spreading the light. And if you have to take care of you have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of your finances as well. This is the hard part on this realm of being a human being while there's so much shifting within the paradigm. Well, an old paradigm is dying and a new one's rebirthing, and rebirthing really hurts. So I would say yes, like stay in your
Your lane.
lane,
Yeah.
which is the same thing I'm telling myself. I'm telling myself,
Yeah.
stay in my lane,
Me too.
create what I love, help who I can, and then just remember like you can't have the weight of the world on your shoulders, which I do most of the time. And so this is I'm giving advice that I give to myself.
Yeah. Me as well. There's a couple of things I almost got involved with, and I thank God I meditated and went in. And I'm like, Michele, you're gonna get you have hardly any zero to hardly any to no troll. You're gonna open the trolley gate if you start doing that totally,
Mm.
and that's not
Hmm.
my energy. I just don't want to. It just bores me. But so I had to kind of pull back and go, okay, where are you really at? What are you, my lane? And by the way, Seth, with the astrological aspects, and in fact, as you connect more to the soul, this is why the soul idea has only that aspect of us we're connecting to more, is it implies limitation. Saturn is limitation, and on the ego level it means, oh, I can't do that, I don't want to do that, that's no, people get grumbly. But that whole stay in your lane, we're actually with Neptune and Saturn in Aries, it is going to be stay in your lane, and it's going to have little electrical fences like for the cattle if you get out of your lane.
Yeah, Michelle, I don't. You went. Your sound went down a little bit, like just a little bit, just to let you
What
know.
about now?
I don't know. It's yeah, it dropped. It dropped quite drastically.
Let's see.
Oh, that was getting better. That
Is
was
that better?
louder. Oh, that's yeah.
Oh,
Now it's a
good.
little hot,
A little hot, too
um,
hot?
but yeah. Can you explain that because I would love to know. So you were saying with I believe it was Jupiter, there was more restrictive thoughts and things
Well,
happening,
Saturn, see, one of the
or
things,
Saturn. I'm sorry.
Saturn, yeah, and I kind of read, and like the whole idea that you can do anything you want. Well, you can within your soul design, your soul purpose.
Hmm.
And so the ego part of us doesn't like that because it feels like it's missing something out. But of course, we all know when you find your thing, whatever you want to call it, life purpose, you have a hobby you really love, you go for it, and you really have that fulfillment. So right now, the aspects that are coming in with that Saturn is it's a taskmaster, like it holds your feet to the fire so you can learn something, finish something. But it also,
Yes.
right? It's like,
Yes. Yes.
but it also creates a limitation for you, like this is what you're supposed to do or you need to do, or this is what you're really about. It creates realism. So it's very interesting. I keep telling people, look, the days of kind of like going to the Tuscany for the yoga retreat and drinking your wine are over. People are going to want to learn something. What do you show me what you
What tools,
got?
what tools can I take home? Exactly. Exactly.
Yes, because so that halati dottie going to yoga and the Instagram filters and being wearing white and I'm a spirit, people are going to be, okay, what are you doing, how long you've been doing this, how can you help, so that's Saturn. So it's like a dream, but we're going to have to put the foundation in, and it has to be a realistic dream. Like if I want to bring typewriters back and that's my big vision, it's probably not going to go anywhere.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's kind of what I mean. And And one of the things too, Seth, that kind of intrigues me, because I know you work a lot with leadership and community, and I think do you work with men's groups also,
Yes, I
or
do.
what? Because I
Yes.
feel a whole, I don't know what it is, a rehaul, whether it's the masculine aspect of all of us, or young boys, men. And I always say to people, because I studied like, women's studies and stuff in college, we had to study the matriarchy. And I'm like, okay, guys, when it was a matriarchal time, when the women were the goddesses running the world, they were not any better, honestly, than the patriarchy. Because they got pregnant, they bled, they didn't die, so they misused their power. So
Mm.
everybody's misused their power one time or another.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering, with this whole idea of, as what we're talking about is finding your thing, I'm wondering if a lot of people are having trouble, whether male or female, finding their thing, whatever.
This time now more than ever, myself included. Again, this is an inner fight that I understand very well. So I'm so glad we're talking about this.
Okay. And men, even more, young children, young boys, finding their thing. And I think that's also why, the teacher therapist part of me says, when I see all this stuff going on, it's all wounded child stuff. The only reason people fight and bully, I don't care if it's groups or political or GOP, they're fighting and bullying. They're not creating, they're fighting and bullying because of wounding. That wound, boy, oh boy, got triggered. But then they don't have their thing, because you have less wounding, or if you have wounding and you're healing it, but you have your thing, part of your thing is healing your wound, and you don't act out of the wound as much. So
Correct.
I'm right. So I'm wondering, kind of, what are you seeing, but also what are you seeing, the kind of the antidote? Because to me, the way out of this is people have to connect spiritually and to their soul. They have to have I don't see how anybody could ever do it, because otherwise you just stay fighting, and fearful.
Yeah, it's with finding purpose and balancing it to where it can be financially beneficial to you. I'm actually re-listening to a book, Outwitting the Devil,
Oh, okay.
and
Let me.
amazing, amazing book. Napoleon Hill, I believe it's
Oh,
Napoleon Hill.
I read some of his stuff. Yeah.
And it's called Outwitting the Devil. And in the book, it talks about, the devil likes drifters, because the more that you drift, the more that you get angry with yourself, the more you get frustrated, or the more, and on and on and on and on. And realistically, when you have a divisive thing that you want to do, you have passion, you have focus. Now, for me,
Mm,
this is such a tricky, it's not tricky. This is a interesting thing, because I have sat in the forests and in the jungle just being. I love just being, right?
mm-hmm,
And if you go to a lot of different countries around the world, people are just being. The kids are going to school, everybody comes home for siesta at lunch.
mm-hmm.
It's just day-to-day life is very being. It's not about what can I do. We're just existing as human beings. So, but this way of our way of thinking, this westernized way, is also true, because it's how the culture is here.
Yeah.
So I think innately we just want to be, but
Yeah.
how things are, we have to do as well. And so we have to accept that. We have to take time, like you're saying, for practice to just be a human, be with Mother Nature, be with our friends, and the doing aspect, the thing that we're fighting in our mind is that gets in my way is time. I want to be doing my mission work in a certain amount of time, but I have to remember it takes time to grow the community. It takes time to
Yeah.
figure out not just what you want to provide, but what the people actually need. So I've had True Kings Academy, where I help men heal, mostly through spiritual practices, tools, and techniques that I've learned over the past 12, 14 years. And I want them to walk away with these tool sets. But something happened last year, 2025, where there was a spiritual glass ceiling that broke, like you said, where it's not just woo woo, it's not just whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I realized collectively there's a lot of men that need to have the balance of taking care of their finances and having
Yeah.
some sort of vision. So I didn't really have the success, quote unquote, that I wanted last year, but I had to like sit back and not look at it as like a loss. I had to look at, oh, the community of men needs something different. I'm going after a certain
Mm.
demographic, but the need is for a younger demographic.
Mm.
And so sometimes it takes a year to adjust. Sometimes it takes 5 years to build up the thing that you want to be doing that you're passionate about, you know? And for me, I'm turning part of True Kings Academy into a nonprofit because it's not hard for me to give my time for free open circles. That's what I'm doing this year, 2026. There's going to be more twice a month free open circles for men to just come talk. I'm going to be doing free monthly hikes with
Oh,
guys
wow.
that are near Los Angeles, and I have one or two other guys that I'm working in different parts of the country for them to lead hikes. Now, I've done volunteer work, but I
Mm-hmm.
realized I got to get out of my own way. This is not an income producing thing, but I still love helping the men, helping them find their vision. And the truth for men comes down to you need a financial resource
Yeah.
for yourself and for your partner one day. There's no way we're getting around it. And through all the struggles that you might go through as a man, here are some techniques that I've learned from my mentors who are older, and they've learned from their mentors who are, some of them were indigenous shamans or scouts. And so here's the information that was passed down to me from my elders that I'm going to now give to you. Now, for the next 2 years, if I just do free for these men, I don't care because I
Mm-hmm.
have, thank God, thank you, God. I have other businesses that I am also growing simultaneously. And they're not multi-million dollar businesses, but enough to take care of me. And I can give my free to the men to help them because that is what God calls me to do. So from having to fight that, like what you're saying, what can I do? What is my mission? Find your mission, work on it.
Yeah.
Don't put a time on when you think it's going to happen, and take care of yourself.
Yeah, and I can attest it takes a while, and sometimes you're refining something or it doesn't go as quickly or the same way. And I just had something and I thought, you know what? It's not going exactly the way I want or as fast, but I love it and I'm still going to do it. So
Yes.
um, hopefully it'll become more successful. If not, oh well, I like it, you know. So you know what I'm hearing with this, because we lost this somehow, the whole kind of mentoring in community, and especially I think for boys and men, you know, except for sports, but they don't offer that as much anymore in school. But I think the movement, the hiking, I think is great. I think sometimes it's like, oh, just do football, do soccer, that'll do it. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the guy's like, I don't really want to do that, you know.
Right.
So, but it sounds like I do feel we need new mentors of a different ilk than what we had before. I think that some of the old skill sets, yes, we can bring forward, or they need to somehow be updated. It's like, how do you sneak in? How do you, or get in what might seem older or fuddy duddy or not as interesting that they need to learn or know, and jazz it up, make it updated, right? What you're delivering, or
Yeah,
yeah,
related. I mean, it to me the
relatable.
first, yeah, it's just make it relatable because there's a lot of great coaches, there's a lot of great mentors out there from what I'm seeing. Like I
You
see,
are okay.
yeah, I really really am. And there can be more,
Yeah,
for
for
men, for women,
boys,
for
for
everybody.
communities, for
Yeah,
younger. There are. Okay, good. That
the,
makes
the,
me happy
and
to know that.
and they're developing because everybody's going to have their own acquired taste of the mentor that they like, and each
Hmm.
mentor is going to have an acquired taste of the men that they like to coach up,
Hmm.
and so you know everybody can mentor. I don't
Yeah.
have children, so but I mentor when I still teach dance and help young kids want to get in the performing arts, and I help men. My thing is just helping people get into their heart or either achieve their dreams, find their vision.
Yeah.
um, and so but
But
there
that's
can be
huge.
mentors. Yeah. So I don't want to say I have children everywhere, but my mentorship now that I don't have kids is coming in. I'm that mentorship is still going out to the world in everything that I do.
Hmm.
And everybody can be a mentor, but the community aspect is dwindling, and it is actually our responsibility, I believe, 35, let's say even 30 years old and up, to keep creating these communities.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your thing is, to keep creating communities, because that's what creates culture, that's what creates dependability, um, and that mentorship.
Yeah. I wonder what happened, because I feel like when social media was kind of really starting, like when uh, Twitter and early, well, MySpace obviously, but Twitter, they had these meetups, and they were more high functioning community engagement where people really did support. I mean, they had their con artists still, like with the multi-level marketing and stuff. You had
Yeah,
to kind of wade through that, unfortunately. But that whole idea, it almost feels like we went from community to competition online.
we did. Oh,
Did
that's a great
we?
way. Yes, we
Oh,
did.
because I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, and oh, I don't do well with that at all. I'm like, so what happened? And I think we got to get back to that community, like you said. Just you're saying the thought process. If people, it's just not out there as much. Like, oh, there's a lot of people that do this. There's room for more. People do it in their own way, but that's not the sentiment, the reality out there. It's almost like clawing. It's like what's that, Black Friday or whatever, where people claw their
Yes.
way.
Yes.
So is it possible to kind of get the community? Because I do feel online, especially with younger kids, I think the culture, I think realistically trying to ban them or cut them out of the social media, they're going to find a way. It's like telling your son, you're 13 or 14, don't date that person. They're
Right.
going to do it at
Or
school.
don't ride a bike. Yeah,
Don't ride a
right.
bike. Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
do that. Um, so don't go to that place. Don't listen to that kind of music. It's bad for you. Well, they're going to do it if they really want to. But I think by what I'm hearing you say, I'm like, yes, in person, I think that's so important, and get people, in real life and connecting, kind of eye to eye. But I also feel there needs to be online components of this to grab those people and children and kids, young
Hmm.
adults,
Hmm.
to see something different, not so much of this competition all the time.
Yeah, that has been the biggest thing for me. December and January, actually, December coming into this year of January. Um, There was a book I read, I think it was called Bowling Alone. It's a very long book, but it was basically talking about how we went from, when bowling came in arcades and all these things,
Oh,
you had to be
yeah.
outside and it was community driven. And there was bowling teams and things like that, and how that started to dissipate. Um, Now, for the older generation, that still exists. The older generation is, playing pickleball. They're still kind of going out and doing that, but a lot of the younger generation is online. We're only going
Hmm.
to be able to affect a certain percentage of them, if I'm just being
Okay.
honest.
Right.
Some will get lost to technology and AI.
Hmm.
And so, and I ask myself, what's my solution to this, right?
Yeah.
Because again, I have a coaching business for performers where I sell my course and things like that. And with my men's group, it's because it's so spiritual and such that aspect. I'm like, I don't need to sell anything. I'm just going to create a group
Yeah.
of, if you're a spiritual man or looking to get into your spirituality, your healing, a little bit on your financial building, your wealth building, come here. Just have talks with us for free. Come hike with us. You don't have to say anything. You can just have a group of guys to just hang out with, but we're all in our hearts.
Hmm.
We're going to be the ideal role models that we want to be for ourselves and others. I don't need to do that community. I don't need to make money. So again, people could just volunteer their time and create
Yeah.
communities, whether that's um, community garage sales, twice a year or whatever it is. If a woman wants to get women together to do a certain activity once a month, or just take young girls hiking with their mothers. That's so
Yeah.
easy to do.
Yeah. I think we got to get out. So I had a little stint in film and TV model, all that. And so I really learned that whole creative collaborative, like, oh, we're doing a test shoot, or we're doing this student film, we're doing this is on spec, but you might, and I think we have to get out of this whole thing that every darn little thing has to, we sneeze and we have to monetize it. It's like
It's getting
everything.
really gross. It's getting really
It's
gross.
getting bad. I know, Seth. It's
Yeah.
getting,
But you know why, I think,
no, no,
is
why?
people want
I
to
want
work people want to work for themselves.
true.
People want to work for themselves, number one. People two, um, they are it might be due to a lot of job loss,
Okay.
but monetizing everything is it's getting very yucky, I agree.
Hmm.
And so again, for me, I have the things that I'm going to push because I know I'm a master at it. I'm 20 to 25 years plus into mastering the performing arts and how to actually make it and make a living off of it. That I'm
Yeah.
going to sell. With my
Yeah.
men, even though I've had, 12, 14 years of intense study with spirituality, self-healing, helping others heal, and I've run this course, there is my course I can still sell. I'm not going to push it on people though.
Right. Right.
But to bring guys in again for an hour, hour and a half, twice a month, that's 2 to 3 hours a month for me. That's nothing. Anybody can do that. To take guys on a hike, I'm going to go hiking anyways, so might as well
Right.
bring some guys with me that we can now network. Hey, we're going to do, I don't know, we're going to go surfing this day, or we're going to go do a car show, or we're going to go work out together this day. It's creating an environment for productivity and healthy relationships.
Yeah. Just as you're talking, I know someone I want to suggest it to, that I think, because I know you said there's a lot. I'm just not seeing these groups as much, other than the heavy hitting, salesy, come and be the warrior man, inner
Yeah,
masculine. These things, or what goddess, God, and what your lady want. I mean, this kind of like, I don't know. I don't want to be too
it's getting
judgy.
out of no,
Yeah.
we're not
It's
judging. It's
like,
just I don't think it's judgment. I just think it's getting out of hand. And that's been hard for me from the beginning, working my mission and doing True Kings is, I certain things there needs to be energetic exchange. When I do
yeah.
my course, it's a 16-week course. People are paying for that because it's an energetic exchange, because I am running energy just to protect the space. So you can let go of your demons or face your shadow self, or, see your angels, and you're having that communication. I'm just protecting
Hmm.
the space from, it's ceremony pretty much every time we go in. That's an energy exchange. But the other stuff, I don't need to sell on guys creating an environment, a safe environment for guys to talk.
Yeah. Do you think there's not enough of that, the talking? Do you think we need more communication
I
in
think,
general?
yeah, we just need, again, not just for men, but for all communities, we need more free spaces
Yeah.
for anybody to donate their time. Again, a Zoom or in person, for the
Hmm.
local community and for the larger community at whole. It's just something you're doing to give back.
Yeah,
You know?
that's, yeah, the giving back. That's so powerful. It feels so, I don't know. It feels so good to do that. And that to me gets you in this amazing energy, this wave of energy, the ability to just give back, to share, to connect. I think sometimes it means so much, and then it's also fulfilling.
Yeah, it's fulfilling, and ultimately we have to pass down as much as we've learned to these next younger generations, because they are very smart. There are a lot of star children. There's a lot of very special children here, and there's a lot of children that don't have great leadership or parents or parental,
Yeah.
anything. And so again, it's our duty to slowly, gently step into eldership in any way
Hmm.
that we can. And it
Yeah.
doesn't, you don't have to be selling, all your things all the time. But if we do that, again, a house mother just helps, two or three other young girls. I'm taking, 10, 20 men to really just give them some advice to say, hey, you're going to be okay. Or, hey, it's actually time to step it up. Or, yeah,
Yeah.
cry, like get that out of your freaking system, you
Yeah.
know? that just being a space holder is mentorship,
Powerful.
and it's
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah.
So we can all do that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I remember for me, when that's been done for me in whatever capacity, even if it was a minute or two, I still remember. Even when, middle school, high school, whatever, college, even in middle school, high school, I still remember those little words somebody said that held the
Yes.
space or encouraged me. It's like sentence or two. And that's, I'll refer back to that, that energy in those words, and that will help. And I'm wondering, I do believe with Pluto going in Aquarius that we're going to have more of this and more of it, more, what's the word that I want to say, more consistent or more kind of out there or known, these resources and people using that, because it's such about
I pray
empowering
for that.
individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pluto is about the the playing field, and this, a lot of the messaging has been about optimizing our life, making things more optimal for everyone. It's like in some ways there's a whole group of consumers that they're much more savvy now. Like you said earlier, we're talking about, the skill set. What is this real? How can I really use this? I think people are going to be, it's already happening, but it's just going to be more where, they want what's real, and like, not just for those that have discretionary income or a lot of, just living a luxurious life, that they get to get these things. It's going to have to be on all layers and levels, that this is accessible. And again, that's Pluto and Aquarius, that empowerment. Pluto's a lot about transmutation of energy, that energy exchange you talk about, refining it, making it, more ideal, life enhancing, and transformation. But it's also big about accountability and empowerment.
Yes. Those are
Yeah.
all coming up for me these past
Are they?
past
Yeah.
few weeks, definitely. How to just balance. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yes,
No, no, go.
I'm well, yeah, the empowerment, the getting back on track,
Yeah.
and um, the accountability, the responsibility, but the grace with it
Yeah. I
is
think it's,
been my
I like,
biggest lesson.
yeah. And I kind of, because that is like a big, kind of like a general term, responsibility, accountability. And I kind of did for myself like a deep dive on that. And, and I thought, I have to reframe this. I don't feel it's like burdens, like that's old paradigm, but I think it's
Same,
like,
yeah.
right. But I think it's more like, oh, I can do this, or this is up to me. I think it's, believe it or not, we're going to be moving out of victimhood, staying parked in the victim parking lot. We're going to be
Mm-hmm.
moved. That's what I'm looking at it, not necessarily the heaviness of, it's your fault or that, but accountability is like a self responsibility, or, I can make those changes. I can do it too. I might need support. Let me see what I need. And because that, the community aspect, but by the way, it also is cults, and some of what we're seeing now is the lower octave. But the
Mm-hmm.
higher octave is, let's empower the individual, because the individual creates the group, creates the community. So before, in the Piscean era, it was so focused on the group and merging, and the individual was like, in a way, the martyr.
Yeah, yeah. You want to know the easiest way to decipher a cult?
Yeah, how
A
do
true
you?
mentor or a true community will tell you to go home.
That's,
A cult will tell you, stay. Why don't you
yeah,
just stay?
yeah.
Stay. There it is right there. My
Oh
one of
my
my
god.
greatest mentors always said, he'd have a class of 100 people all the time, and he says, well, now that you've learned everything, go home.
Yeah, yeah,
Because you can't stay here. Take what
yeah,
you've learned and go practice it. So, yeah, the that lower vibration of cultism is really, again, coming back to people wanting a family, people wanting a community, but they don't realize
mhm,
they're getting sucked up when somebody says, no, 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 stay. Even in a single relationship, no, 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 stay. Yeah, careful what's
yeah,
on the other side of that. A real mentor, a real community be like, we love you, but now it's time for you to go work on yourself.
yeah.
And
And
you're
also,
always welcome to come back, but
yeah, and also to bring it to your, to the, to themselves. Like, oh, what do you think? or bring that in. This is my suggestion, or this is what I see, but bring it into yourself. What do you think? You bring it to you,
Yes.
that's a biggie. And that's why I think a lot of formulaic things aren't going to work anymore because, and in truth, they never really did.
Hmm.
I think sometimes what happens, and this is where I think leadership and mentoring can get really interesting, is if you can mentor or teach people to use their skill set, like, okay, here's a couple steps, but now how do you integrate it? What's your unique way? And I think in the old model, it was very much follow this, follow me. And people wanted to be who they were learning from and who they were going to get information from. And then if they weren't like that, if their personality type, and I'm thinking of certain ones where if you were triple type A, yeah, you would slay it, but you probably didn't need that teacher, because you were already high performing. But if that wasn't you, if you were like type B and you're like, oh, I can't do that, I can't, and it's like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just you didn't find the approach that was individual to you.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I think that narrative's changing. I don't know if you kind of feel that and see that maybe that's
Um,
changing,
I,
or maybe
I,
I'm
I'm,
wishful thinking.
I'm not sure if it's changing collectively. I think people are trying to. This is my observation.
Okay.
People are trying to find a way out of their circumstances, whether that's spiritually, financially, business wise, you name it, right? And so they are looking for mentors, but
Right.
they cast a wide net. What I've been doing for the past 2 years is I only listen to two or three people when it comes to financial growth. I only listen
Mm-hmm.
to, on the spiritual side, I pray and journal and listen to God and like my higher team. But
Yeah.
let's just say I'm only going to listen to two or three people there. I mean, I have 18, 20 books to read this year and I'm two or three in. Um, but I only listen to about two to three people in each sector, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's,
Smart.
mental or spiritual growth or financial wellness or business. That's kind of like my three. And I'm sticking
Mm-hmm.
with them all year.
Yeah, I like that, the commitment. But also, I think you can get too scattered if you get too much information or differing information. I think, yeah, at some point you have to
It's
say, let me try this
You
road,
have to commit. You have
right?
to
You have to
commit to
commit.
your mentor, just the same way a protege would have to commit to their master for an extended period of time, whether that was spiritually or martial arts or whatever. So I think what could be beneficial for people is I think a lot of people are looking out,
Mm-hmm.
to get out of their current situation. I think there are a lot of great mentors, but whatever it is, find your two and stick with them for a year to 2 years. Understand what they have really mastered, and they have to be masters. They have to have proof,
Yeah, they have to have proof. Oh, I love that. They have to
and
have proof. Yes.
and
Woo.
you'll feel it,
Yeah.
because the masters aren't trying to sell you. They're going to pitch their stuff. They're going to say this is available, but it's we're already doing this.
Yeah.
We're letting you know it's available if you'd like to join, as opposed to the people that are, the ickiness is like, come take this course. It's more salesy. And so,
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I'd say promising something that, in realistic, where are you at with something? I think again, having that realistic point of view, like you said earlier about time or how long it takes to do something or yes. Because I know that for myself is gifted I am in certain areas or what I'm doing, I can look and go, Michele, you got a couple more things to do before you're at that level. You can
mhm,
get there, but
mhm.
realistically, you got to learn this or clean this. So I think that kind of realistic approach, if someone is telling you, like I had a client, please guys, I just really want to just like pull my hair out when I just hear this, but oh my God, no, Seth, no, these things on YouTube, that these expensive courses and building out a program. I worked with this person. We're like, yeah. Now, mind you, they've not done anything. They have a completely different job. They took this course. It was $5,000, and I said, well, you should probably do some smaller things or post or get community. No, I'm offering this It's a year program for $5,000, and I'm like, to who?
To who? Literally
To
to who?
who? And I said, I go, it's not that I don't believe in you. I said, but you haven't done this before. You had a whole different career,
Right.
not even in teaching it. And I said, shame on that person for charging you $5,000 and making you build out a year program when people aren't doing that kind of stuff, unless at a different level, if they've studied with you before. So yeah, I think we got to realistically go, where am I realistically at?
Here's what it could be. If you want to create something, do it what you've mastered over the past 10 to 20 years. Doing something in a way
Okay.
that's going to be beneficial and serve others, right?
Okay, I
And
like
Tony
that.
Robbins and Dean, I can't remember his last name, a lot of these major people that have been doing it for years, that's what they teach.
Mm-hmm.
I watch Tony Robbins and things like that, but it always has to be in service to others. So that's like with my coaching for performers, I'm coaching them and their parents, right? But that is my
Mm-hmm.
mastery of 20 plus years as a performer and 30 plus years from training into, where I'm at today. So I can I can charge what I charge, but I'm literally saving people time and money. And I'm not charging
Yeah.
$5,000 by any means.
Yeah,
But
that was like, there's so many of those.
I have what I'm an expert at, and I still believe in young performers because I tell them all the time, like, we still need dreamers. We still need
Oh yeah.
artists. Through
Yeah.
every war, there have always been
Oh,
musicians and painters and performers that have been the sanctuary or the
yeah.
storytellers and capturers of that time. So that's why I still, you know, um, love that part of my community. And again, for the men, I had to look at what was the need, not what I want to give them, not what I want to tell them, and how I want to
Mm-hmm.
mentor them. What do they need? And what I realized, anybody can do this. You can realize the thing that you want to do next.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going to take 5 to 7 years just to build the community in a beautiful way.
Yeah.
So give first,
Yeah.
and that could only be 2 hours a month.
Mm-hmm.
Mentor some
Yeah. It's
people
in
for
that giving.
free.
Yeah. That energy. I love what you were saying about that energy exchange. I think that's so much of it. And give of yourself. We need to give. Stuff will come back. It always does, whether money, resources, appreciation, you learning too. I always figure myself,
Hmm.
whatever I'm doing and I'm still learning, that kind of beginner's mind that saved
I
me many
feel
times.
Yes, me too. I still do that. What can I learn here? Hmm.
Mhm. How am I learning? And um, yeah, I love what you're saying. Now, Seth, do you help people with this, like this? Um, because I love this, but the part that you said, like 10, 20 years, or let's say somebody's a lot younger, at least 5 years. But I do believe, don't just take a couple courses or weekend course and put your little shingle out. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
oh my God. Um, some of us take too long. Like, I just need to learn more, or I need to be of service. I get it.
Right.
You don't want to wait too long. But I like what you were saying, because again, this to me, it even ties in again to that Neptune, Saturn, and Aries, the Pluto there. It's like, there has to be, like, what are you really offering? What do you do? I mean, if you are the best baker, remember the whole people baking them bread, what was it, sourdough?
Hmm.
Yeah, if that, you love doing that, you really know how to do that, but you have to really know and living it. That's the difference. Old paradigm, there were a lot of posers. You're going to see a lot of posers swept out,
Yes.
right? Because
Quickly.
quickly,
I
it's
mean,
it's
a
just
lot
the
of them will
vibe.
have their following, but people will realize it's not working.
Yeah. And that's, you just said it, Seth. It's the new paradigm, what's being co-created, and it shows it even in the astrology, is what is working.
Hmm.
And I just thought in my life there was certain things I had to do that I had to kind of pivot on, and I'm like, Michele, that's not what's needed right now. That's what you think. And I had to remember, sometimes where I'm at is not where other people are at, where I'm delivering the message or the information or the content. And I had to pull off. I actually deleted some stuff I had done that I was offering to some of my mentees. And I said, okay, wait a minute. And then I started getting what is really needed. I was getting this feedback from people, not even knowing what my inner process was. But I had to have my own inner process, which I think is so big. Maybe you can share on that. Like, to say, wait a minute, Michele, is this really is this really what's needed? Is this really the true need? Is this, and what are you learning from this? And for
Right.
me, it was, how do I be better of service, not what I think somebody needs, but what somebody actually needs. That
Right.
was a big boom boom to me, woo.
That's the true space to me, in my opinion, of a good mentor or advisor or whatever, is what do they really need? Um, and it doesn't even, again, some of my biggest learning times and what I've noticed even coaching men already is less is more. So I don't have to say a lot. I realize
Mm-hmm.
if you can say less, something that they can take away, a good nugget, a good saying, they will chew on that idea or that new perspective for a
Mm-hmm.
full week, a full month, and then it actually integrates.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Makes
we're
sense.
overwhelmed with, because we are consumers, we're overwhelmed with information and we can't sit on a new tool set or a new perspective or a new idea.
Mm-hmm. Now, Seth, that is a biggie right now, and I know it's going to kind of parse out.
Hmm.
But what do you suggest for people? Because there is, in a way, there is too much. Even sometimes when I'm surfing around, and I have a good discernment, I pull back and I go, "Whoa! I just got blasted. There's just too much. There's just too much to know. Too much learning coming in. Though I know I need something, and I can hear other people thinking that way. I need something. So what are some ways that people can discern? Like, should I be looking at this or bringing this in, or what is too much? How do I know I'm getting overloaded?
I feel like what I've done and what I could suggest is you need to pick the two areas of your life that you feel like need the most work. Number one, love
Mm-hmm.
yourself for where you are,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
none of us are perfect and none of us are ever going to be perfect. This is called an evolution.
Mm.
Just like school was, you evolved from kindergarten through, if you graduated high school, through 12th grade, and if you went to, it was a whole evolution. So number one, give yourself grace and love yourself. But number two, look at the areas of your life that you feel like you need growth and education. So if that's
Mm.
spirituality, okay, maybe take a month or two and have fun looking at different people, and then pick two.
Okay.
Let them be your virtual or whatever, and then just study all their free content as much as you can for a year to 2 years. If it's in finance, do the same thing. Find the people that have done it. Pick two,
Yeah.
read all their books, listen to all their audiobooks, listen to all their podcasts. Don't overwhelm yourself, and then just take your time over the next few years to get to the next level. But we can't be focused on every area of our life all the time.
All the
Even in my
time. Yeah.
relationship, like my partner, she'll tell me, like, hey, we need to talk about this now, or I'll say we need to talk about this now and work on this, and we'll read the same audiobook together at the same time.
Mm.
I'm on my time, she's on her time, but there's something for us to grow and evolve. It's not bad. So we'll focus on that for a certain amount of time, and when we feel like we're good, we move on. But pick two areas of your life that you feel like you need evolution.
Mm-hmm.
Find your mentors, and then slowly have fun learning and have grace with yourself.
Mm. Good advice. Have fun. Have grace. Yeah. More grace, less self-criticism, overly criticizing. Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And the having fun. So what is the, in closing, kind of wrapping, where is the mentoring? How do people connect? And what does it look like? Or is it just kind of, is it different with different people individually? And then you also, I know you have the group community aspect as well.
Yeah, everything that I do Performers Edge coaching, which is for young performers and their parents. I have my course, and I do one-on-one coaching and workshops will be coming up. That's Performers Edge is on my website, iamsethstewart.com. And you can, for the men, you can get to True Kings Academy from there as well. So I'm focused on coaching, folks, coaching these young performers and helping men.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they can kind of, on my social medias, it's all the same. iamsethstewart.com. You can find, or I am Seth Stewart. You can find everything from there. But I am focused on these two lanes for the next,
I
you
love
know,
that. I love
five to
that you're
10 years.
saying this, because by the way, I've seen, again, shows in the astrology, and I've actually even heard a couple astrologers talk about, you're not going to be able to get as much done. You're going to focus on, a few things, dial in on that and then change and then grow, because it
Yeah, I
becomes
had to take
very,
time out of it. That's yeah.
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 Now, what about the community, or maybe am I misunderstanding? What about the community part? Where you're doing,
The community part I'm doing for True Kings Academy for the men.
okay,
Twice a month, I offer free online open circles. So it's on Zoom. They just have to DM me or email me,
okay,
and they can come and just chat and have a safe group of guys to, talk to learn from, to connect with.
yeah,
Um, and all that's listed on my truekingsacademy.com website, or it's also on at iamsethstewart.com. The free hikes that we're doing are also there. And so that's the free community that I'm doing to build this with men.
okay, perfect. Oh, Seth, always come back anytime. I love this.
Thank you
I
so
love what
much for
you're
having me.
doing. Yeah, you're so inspiring, and I just love what you're doing. And I think anyone can learn from you. But I love that you're also, providing something for the men, and specifically young men coming up. So needed right now. So very needed.
Thank you.
So you take good care. Till next time. Big hug,
You as
shine bright.
well. Thank you,
Yeah.
Michele.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, gang. Oh, love that. Thanks, you too. Thanks for providing free spiritual communities for people. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. See, Joy. Yeah. Yeah, he's doing that. So if you want to connect with, you're welcome, Christy. Yeah, that's, I think, if you really love what you do, you don't mind doing it for free, you'd be doing it anyway for yourself. So might as well bring others on board to do that. So I just want to look back on Seth, his info. All of that will be, by the way, in the description box. You'll be able to find him and connect with what he's doing, whether you want to work one-on-one or community or anything else that has going on. And I would even say, especially even if you're a performer or doing something performative, it's helpful to know somebody that is actually in the field. Hi, Maria Monroe. Good to connect with you. And I know years ago I had a models workshop, and everybody had to be working. It wasn't like people from 30, 40 years ago that, no, it was working, models working workshop. All the photographers, everybody had to be current and working to mentor the talent and to help the talent. I did it for a while till my career really took off, and I actually got asked to do it by my agents. They're like, can you help people? You're so good. You have a good eye. And also, can you help them with that yoga and meditation you do? Help them balance and de-stress. Anyway, I am SethStewart.com. You can connect with him, Seth Stewart, as well as his book, Follow Your Vision, Live Your Truth. Anyway, guys, I really have enjoyed today. If you're new, I consider subscribing, sharing the pod with people, the live stream. Connect with Awakenings with Michele on YouTube, Soul Insights and Tarot. Come by. You can join the Patreon group for free if you want to do more of the soul support, soul study group, and advanced metaphysics and spiritualism, esoteric studies. You can go to my Patreon, the Soul Path Journeyer tier, or any of the tiers that kind of get that Soul Awakening and Soul Path Journeying. All right, gang, thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing. Leave in the comments any topic suggestions, guest suggestions, or you can email me at awakeningspodcast@gmail.com with your questions or topic suggestions as well. Let's keep the conversation going, okay? See you next time. I'm getting woke and staying
woke. Awakenings broadcasts every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Pacific Time. Archive shows available on iTunes. For continued awakened conversations and insights, join the Awakenings group on Facebook. And check out Michele's blog at soulplayground.com. And keep awake.